Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and more Arc Raiders. Today I'm updating my Arc killing guide since I've learned a lot since the last time I made one of these. I want to be clear and to the point on this video, giving you all the options based on what budget you're going for and the knowledge for each large arc to kill it fast and efficient, whether you're there with a level 1 ferro or with proper setups. So let's begin with your budget. In my opinion, the lowest tier is a level 3 ferro or above. Something very simple you can do though is run a ferro to strip armor, then just swap to anything else that can fast fire effectively into that weakness. This could literally be a kettle or a sticher, or you could mag dump with a torrente, like a fully upgraded renegade for the fast fire rate and accurate fire into the weak point. But naturally, more investment, faster clears, more XP, better drops, better rewards. As the other weapon option, you have the hullcracker. You can buy one of these a day for 30k, as you probably know, and you can craft the ammo and buy it as well. The big thing here is to run a augment that has 2 safe pockets or more. The looting Mark II is the easiest to access one and cheap to craft. With that, you put your launcher ammo in the safe pockets, and then the hullcracker directly draws from the safe pocket when you fire. And when you're using the hullcracker properly, which means shooting the weak points, not just blindly firing into the target, you don't need even a 24 stack. Then we have the explosives. The best version of this is of course the Deadline and the Wolfpack. Wolfpack for flyers, Deadline for ground units. Dropping down in expense, you have the next tier of explosives, which in my opinion is the heavy fuse grenade, trigger grenade, and the trailblazer. As it states, the heavy fuse grenade is 80 damage a pop, but must be carefully positioned and there's a delay after the explosion. Trigger grenades are easy, they deal more damage, 90, stick to targets, and you can throw all 3, then right click to cause all of them to pop at once. So between these two, it's obvious the trigger grenade is the better option and the one you should craft as a priority. Between that, we have the trailblazer, which is actually really strong against certain arc in certain situations. You throw it, the gas follows your line, and then it blows up. Don't be misled by the 20 damage number. There are many instances of explosions here. So if you get that gas completely covering the target, the explosion could be absolutely devastating. Like just 1 trailblazer for a leaper, or like 3 for a Bastion Bombardier. So don't sleep on them. Under that in terms of cost then, I obviously have the snap blast, and then even below that the light impact grenades, which are great for utility, revealing weaknesses, stripping armor. Around that you have the utility, which is things that deactivate the target like showstoppers, or hide yourself from the target to get up close like the photoelectric cloak. And lastly the snap hook in regards to your bastions, bombardiers, and even rocketeers for getting on top of them and then placing something like a deadline mine. How hard you want to invest is up to you, but the more you invest, the faster it's going to be, which we're going to cover in each arc section. Before we get into each arc then, I do want to mention arc behavior. Each arc has its own rules and functions, like how flyers are very weak to higher bullet velocity since it causes them to be knocked and flung about in the air. But arc are based on their vision, their scanners. This can let you get very close to them, literally going under them with a rocketeer or behind them with a bombardier. You have to pay attention to their state, which, as you likely know, is the blue scanner, the yellow, or the red one. Blue being neutral, yellow is searching, and then when red, that's when they're aggro to a target and pretty aggro to them. You can swap and trade aggro by having someone else, like a friend, deal damage to the target, which then gives you complete freedom as they over-focus on the person they have aggro on. A great thing to know is when the arc is in yellow search mode, it's not directly aggro to you even if you cause that, and it will have greater awareness, so if a different player comes near it while it's in that yellow state, it very likely aggroes to them. So if you're dealing with a team or you see a team near a rocketeer or something, you could shoot near the rocketeer, not at it, to get it to go into the yellow state, and then it'll aggro to the nearby targets, such as that other team. If it is in a blue or yellow state, line of sight, such as bushes, will work really effectively to hide in until it resets. Or of course the photoelectric cloak, which while active makes it impossible for them to spot you. You just need to make sure you're doing these things when it's not already aggro to your exact location. First up then we have the Bastion. To kill these as fast as possible, you want to deal damage to the core inside. Dealing damage to the core inside is a multiplier of damage. You'll know you're doing this because whenever you're attacking a core, whether it's a matriarch, queen, or Bastion, bombardier, whatever, you get a special sound effect and spark visual. You can expose the core with a Bastion by breaking the back battery, easily done while it's CC'd from a leg break, or using lure grenades or other aggro players and other methods. But you can attack the core without breaking the back battery. When one of the legs gets broken, it's stunned. And during the stun, Bastion heads will lean forward, leaving the back and side exposed. Quite literally letting you see the core while it's still active, even while the back battery is still available. How can we speed this process up? Invest more. This could be things like a single deadline mine, 6 heavy fuses or trigger grenades, or 3 or maybe 4 trailblazers, which depends on how close you are to the target when you initially start throwing them, because you want the gas to be covering the target. But you know, the cheapest option would be a pack of impact grenades. Throwing even 5 of them at one leg from behind cover will cause one to break very quickly. Slightly more investment will be snap blasts, so where you'd have 6 heavy fuses, you'd want 12 snap blasts or more. Secure a bastion kill then by getting close and using hard cover between you and the bastion. You can then lean around left or right, seeing the legs for free without it being able to attack you. This is how you can kill it with a ferro level 1. Or you can peek out a little bit further and throw nades and other things at the main unit. To make deadline usage and trails more reliable, you want to distract or disarm it. You can CC the bastion for a long period by breaking a leg, by simply targeting the yellow joints until exposed and then broken for the CC. Do that with any gun, just get the accurate fire into the yellow joint specifically for bonus damage. When it is stunned, you can approach with a deadline mine, or maybe place all your nades and trails while it's stunned. Other CC options do work, like throwing a simple lure to make it turn away, or a showstopper to disarm the main unit for 10 seconds so it can't shoot you. But you know, the simplest option really would be something like landing on top of it, using terrain to do so, or maybe even a snap up to directly grab it and climb on, and apply something like a deadline easily. Finally, you also have the hullcracker option, which remains the simple yet incredibly effective and easy option. You may be put off by the expense of that, but the reality is it's 30k to buy one each day, then you can craft the ammo or buy the ammo, and then the launcher ammo goes straight into a safe pocket, where it'll be directly drawn from and safe if you do die. A single stack of 24 is enough to deal with a bastion. Just aim for the legs with your weapon of choice, or the hullcracker, and cause the stun. Then during the stun, while the bastion's head is leaning forward and the core is exposed on the sides, fire into it with the hullcracker shots, dealing ridiculous multiples of damage. It does not take many shots before it dies, really quick. Of course, you could play it safe and take your time, break the back battery, then free fire into the fully exposed core. But ultimately, launcher ammo fired from a hullcracker into the core kills it really quick. Next we have Bombardiers. These are very dangerous when they're active. To defeat them solo, the best option is to do it fast and with surprise. You'll need to get up close by sneaking up, and then apply as much burst as possible, which is why I recommend this as the target you most invest in for killing. An extended battle with one can be done, it's not even a problem with like even a basic ferro, but it is a risk and a waste of time. In a fight, you'll need a location that has cover above you, like a roof. The bomber shots fly like mortars, landing from above, so if they instead hit something above you, you're safe. So a building is a top choice. So just like the Bastion, you can target the leg joints and break one, causing a stun. There's also spotters though, which will help it accurately aim at you. You can completely ignore these if the Bombardier is CC'd at the time. It also has a back battery, which when broken exposes the core inside, but because the Bombardier isn't armoured, you can kill it in other ways without much effort. The best method then is obviously the deadline. A single deadline placed on the sort of center unit will kill it. To make that easy, you can run up and throw a lure grenade which holds its attention while you place the mine. Or you could snap up to the top, and while on top of the main unit, it can only spin around while it tries to find you, giving you time to place the mine. You could do that without a snap hook, just using terrain to land on it. But if you're without a single deadline mine for this, which is definitely the best option, invest hard in explosives. Throw 4 trailblazers while up close to make sure it dies, or land 6 or more heavy fuses under it before it reacts, or throw all your trigger grenades and blow them up at once. It'll take a bit longer in regards to like snap blasts where you'll need 12 or more, but the best thing you can do is sneak up and apply as much burst as you can before it really starts fighting you. If the Bombardier survives your initial burst, get somewhere safe, don't try to fight it, let it de-aggro, and do it again. Minimize the risk, minimize the amount of time it takes. Next up we have the Rocketeer, which fires in single shots or bursts. The single shots are easy to manage, the beam aims at you, draws together, and then fires a rocket at that moment. To avoid that, run sideways on from the Rocketeer and sprint roll to create a gap between yourself and the landing explosion. Hard cover works great by baiting the shot into cover instead of yourself, and in a house or doorway, you can step out, fire, as soon as you see the beam, sprint and roll into cover, and then peek out again. But what's the best way to kill them? Well, one single wolf pack can, based on the RNG, kill it instantly, but plenty of times these days it leaves it smoking, and so a few instances of damage will finish it. Seeker grenades will work fantastic to finish a low Rocketeer, 1, 2, maybe 3, without any skill or thought behind it. But of course you can throw a load of these to start a Rocketeer fight. You will need over 10 Seeker grenades in that case, which will leave it smoking or on fire, But do note that the Seekers have a lot longer range of function than a Wolfpack. One of the best ways to start a fight with a Rocketeer is by attacking it from a long range, and you can do that with a Seeker grenade. Otherwise, classic methods exist. Fire into 2 turbines until they're destroyed, that brings it out the air and it blow up as it hits the ground. Or for just raw damage, focus fire into the top plate. This results in efficient DPS. Be wary that both the top plate and the turbines have armor over them, so you can strip that armor first with something like heavy ammo or better, then any ammo will do the job. You could quite literally do that with a ferro and kill it all the way, or remove the armor and swap to a different weapon. Because of that, the hullcracker remains a great option. You just need to accurately fire into the top plate for max damage, but it doesn't take many. Or you could take out the turbines with careful shots. So it's the same thing, but done quicker with higher investment. Lastly, be aware of the flying units, like yes, even the Rocketeer, being vulnerable to bullet velocity. Best example of that is the built-in high velocity weapon, the Aphelion. You can see how it reacts to the shots, causing it to fling and flip. And if you're lucky, it could do that next to a wall or floor, giving you free damage as it crashes. There is an attachment you can use, an epic one, the extended barrel, increasing a weapon's bullet velocity. Slap that onto a weapon like the anvil or the osprey. This will allow you to force the Rocketeer back each shot. With that method, you could fire at a Rocketeer from long distances, slowing its path towards you, letting you outright kill it before it ever reaches you. This can also be done at extreme ranges with something as simple as a ferro and no attachments, as I've done myself. Next up, we have the Shredder. To kill a Shredder, you need to destroy the 3 blue vents at the bottom of the main unit. This can be done with accurate fire from any weapon, even light ammo weapons, and free kits, not a problem. The more investment, the faster you can do this, but with a gun, it is hard to hit the 3rd vent, which is always facing away from you. In that case, just fire into the bottom of the unit where the vents previously were, and that'll do enough once you've taken out 2 vents already. Be wary of its movement and AoE attack though. They're a lot more agile and less susceptible to being knocked about in the current patch. All you need to do is be in line of sight of an aggroed Shredder and it will begin to wind up and explode. You can use that to your advantage. Stand in front of this Shredder, out from cover, but near something you can hide behind. This way, it'll get in line of sight of you, begin to blow up, and then you can quickly step into cover, avoid the damage, and then deal your own again until the next explosion. Explosives obviously are better for this because the radius of the explosion hits multiple vents at once. Any and all explosives do that if well placed, but the best options are ones that can stick to the unit where those vents are, like a snap blast or trigger grenades. Yes, a heavy grenade exploding right under it will do the same, but it is harder to land. You can use things like blaze grenades and trailblazers for the same concept. A trail will need to be covering the fast moving unit though, so it's a good idea to throw the trail once it begins to stop and wind up for its own explosion, that way you can't miss. Now obviously, if you were going to use a hullcracker against one of these, it'd be devastating, but obviously it's a waste of valuable ammo or resources for something that's pretty easy to manage. So yeah, don't waste a deadline mine either. Last up for your large arc, it's the Leaper. Destroy the armor protecting the core, the eye as it's often called, and then just shoot the exposed eye. This can be done efficiently with explosives or heavy ammo as easy examples. The cheapest version of that will be impact grenades. Throw that at the core until it's exposed. You only need like 3 or more to do that. And since they're so cheap to craft, you could throw like 10 and easily deal great damage to the core even with the impacts. But that's not required. As soon as the core is exposed, any damage will have greater value, leading to burst being ideal. A full auto gun into exposed core of the Leaper will do work, but you could even do it with level 1 ferro the whole way. A Leaper cannot fit inside of buildings, anything a crevice will work. You just have to be careful of the explosion around the Leaper, don't let it get too close, but that's it. Speed this up then with greater investment. Bring 3 times the impacts and dump all of them into the core for fast results. Harder hitting explosives that stick, like snap blasts or trigger grenades on the core, will be even better. Launcher ammo from a hullcracker, accurately fired into the core, will kill it so quick, but obviously greater investment. And lastly, you have the classic blaze grenade, which is not what it once was, but will still spread ticking damage across the core and the legs really efficiently. 2 blaze grenades and a few shots to the core is a kill. 3 blaze grenades can be a kill all on their own. Similar concept to that will be the newer trailblazers, right? You spread the gas cloud across the core and multiple legs, and that deals great damage when popped efficiently. It does require some careful positioning though. You want the Leaper to be up close to you and not moving around, so you have to bait some behavior and timings on its own attacks, and a reliable flat surface so you know the smoke actually goes across it and blows up on it. Not foolproof, and maybe you need 2 in worst cases, but it is another great quick option. Lastly, don't waste deadline mines on leapers. It's not worth it. You can kill these things with any weapon. Two quick things to consider as well with leapers. If you lure them into a place where they can't get out, such as a hole or underground area, they will eventually panic. You'll hear this wind-up sound like they're going to do that AoE, but bigger and worse. They're basically self-destructing. So as I'm passing by this area, one's just happened to find its way down into an area like that, blown itself up. I heard that, went over and collected my free loot. Also, yes, they're very susceptible to breaking their legs. If you have like an energy weapon that could do a lot of work towards that, you can essentially CC them by causing them to fumble around by targeting their legs. It does work as another great option. But yeah, that's my quick overview of all the large arc that you'll be dealing with, and my understandings of their behavior and how I kill them in all different ways. I was killing all of these with literally a level 3 ferro on day 1 of the expedition, and since then, I've been scaling my budget and speed at which I'm doing this for XP purposes and so on, so I figured I should share my updated info. If this was useful, please do drop a like, and if you have any extra advice for these topics, let us know in the comments. Until next time, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.